Welcome back to the Impact Show. Oh, wow. Today it is episode number 34. We are stacking them deep, Maddie.
We are.
I'm excited about episode number 34. We're going to talk about something today that's extremely important. But before we do, last week. We always have to talk about last week. And I always put Maddie right on the spot. She has to give her takeaway first to help me remember mine.
Right.
Not to mention she has all the notes.
Okay.
And I don't take notes.
This is true.
Yeah, so give us a takeaway. Take us to town.
So I thought that last week with Brett was awesome. I was educated, obviously, about him as hopefully our next State House District, I think 114.
State House representative.
So learned a lot about him, his family, where he comes from. But he had a lot of one-liners.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the ones that kind of stuck with me was about the micromanaging. It's like if there's two of us that are doing this job, then one of us isn't needed or something like that. But then, of course, all the other educational things that stood out.
Yeah, I mean, he talked about ownership. He talked about a lot of things that the attributes. I mean, so he is a leader, obviously, of a larger organization. Single owner, as far as I know, he and his dad owned the company. He definitely had some wisdom inside of him. And you could tell he is a student of leadership because he had read a lot of books. And so he said lifelong learners, if I remember, he said that. And so we always say leaders are readers.
Yep.
And so he's definitely embracing the leadership.
I remembered another thing. At his business, he talks about, they don't say employees or employer. They talk about they're all on the bus.
On the bus.
And they all have different seats, but they can, they're all going in the same direction. And
yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good stuff.
So, yeah, I actually, Simon sent me that a few weeks back about the owners and employees and all that stuff. It's like, no, dude, we're all on the same team. We're all going in the same direction. And, like Brett did say, when the tide rises, all the boats rise.
Yep.
And so, hey, man, that's good. Good for him. Seems like a great guy. I'd love to work for him.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
I mean, he's the kind of guy that I would want to work for. And that's always the case with the leaders that we interview.
Because they're good leaders.
Yeah.
Come on now, Jeremy.
Yeah. So, but I always think, man, I would love to work for a guy like that.
Right.
Well,
and he was very humble in knowing that it wasn't always that way.
Absolutely.
We didn't really dive into that, but
yeah. Well, he did note that I haven't always been that way, and you heard from the week before, Jeff Rogers said the same thing. Like, I don't think that it's not always been this way.
Right.
So, and I think you'll find that with most leaders that are self-aware and if they're humble anyway,
right,
they'll say that.
Good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. So this week is a teaching week. It's just Maddie and I, the lights in the studio here. We're going to talk about character. And so before I do you remember, she's getting her phone out, or she's Googling it. Do you remember, before we find out what Google says, do you remember when we did integrity?
Yes.
It wasn't that long ago.
That was a long time ago.
Well, it was a few weeks back. A month ago?
It's like a month.
Okay, so check it out. I've heard people say, well, character and integrity are the same thing. And today, I'm going to tell you why it's not. But
okay.
Anyway, but tell us what character is, Maddie.
Well.
Since you got your Google out.
Mm-hmm.
What is character?
A person no, I'm just kidding. The mental and moral qualities distinctive to an individual.
Okay. Say that again.
The mental and moral qualities distinctive to an individual.
Moral qualities. I like that. Okay, so if character is, what I would say is so you have a lot of moral qualities. Courage and humility and patience, kindness, all these things are parts of our character. They make up our character. And your character is made up of a bunch of that stuff, right? And so really, character is the sum total of that. You agree?
Yeah.
So basically, character is what defines you. Either it's good or bad, or it's better than most.
Right.
Right? Integrity is a little bit different. And so before we even start really about character, I want to talk about the difference between character and integrity. And the way that I would define it is that basically character shows up in how you treat other people, how you handle adversity, and consistency and all these things, which really we'll get into some of that with integrity. But think of character as the house, the whole house. So you and your whole house, the structure.
Okay.
Character. Integrity would be the foundation. Okay.
That's good.
So integrity would be what the house is built on. If I could say that. Now, integrity is a specific part of character, and its wholeness, basically, your consistency of character determines your integrity, and your actions matching your values would be integrity, right?
Right.
So, what you do is more of integrity, and who you are is more of your character. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so we get that out of the way. A person with integrity is honest and trustworthy and does the right thing when no one's looking. Integrity is about being aligned between what you say and what you do. And then character, again, is who you are. And so that's the two different ways to kind of look at it. So anyway, give me an example, Maddie. I'm putting you on the spot. Every time. Give me an example of someone that you know that has displayed good character. Ever. A time, and you're on the spot, so it may take you a minute.
Well,
but
I mean, I think of in sports, I think of tennis. I can't think of the tennis player's name. Golly, this is gonna.
Don't ask me because I'm not a sports.
Well, so basically, that's a one person. Well, a lot of times it's a singles team. So when you are defeated or if you win, I mean, all eyes are on you. And so it was I cannot remember this person's name, but it was a pretty harsh win for this person. And the first thing they did was go and console the loser, and to me, sports is so competitive, and the good character is oftentimes not seen in sports.
So did they report this, or did they show it after the match?
Yeah, it's like after the match. Well, after the match, you obviously shake hands.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, a match.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they had a match, and then the person went over there and after they whooped them.
Well, after they even shook their hands, like at the net. And then they dispersed to their benches. He could tell that the other one was so upset that he walked over to the other bench and consulted.
Well, that's showing character. Yeah. I mean, your character, you're empathetic.
Right.
Compassionate. I think all those are forms of character. What about bad character? Do we ever see that? I mean, I guess you see it a lot. But do we ever think about, like, bad form? And I guess I'm trying to think of a time myself where character has been flawed. Can you think of anything? Because here's the thing, in my opinion, bad character, good character is a lot easier to see than integrity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because
character is kind of like a surface thing.
Well, I mean, going back to your analogy of the foundation being integrity, and you can't see the foundation.
Right. Yeah. Well, so again, characters. All right. So the tree.
Mm-hmm.
And this would be a good analogy. Character is a tree, and integrity is the root.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So integrity is deep inside of someone and what they're foundational built on, and the character is kind of what happens. But then again, you kind of flip the coin over. Character is what makes you up. And so integrity is, just in your core. And I believe that character is built out over time through choices and habits. and integrity is there or it's not.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway, basically, I just want to make sure that everybody understands the difference in the two, and they are in fact different and both necessary for a great leader, great impact, great influence, great. You know what I mean? So character. Here's the other thing: is when we talked about integrity, we talked about trust a lot. In fact, we said integrity, trust builds trust and all that. Well, character builds trust. So, trust is the currency of leadership. We've talked about that. People won't follow someone they don't trust. A leader with integrity says what they mean and does what they say and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, trust and character are very close in alignment with each other. And so, anyway. All right, so moving along. What else does character do? I'm looking at my notes now, just so you know.
That's all right.
Yeah, because I can't keep up with all this stuff. Character, when we talk about impact, we talked about influence. Character is that thing that galvanizes the influence and the impact. Because basically, I think that skill gets us to the top of the, whatever we're doing. So you're really good at doing what you do. You're really good at marketing, Maddie. And so you up your game, and then there's only so much skill that can take you to a certain point. And then in order for you to keep going in your journey of growth, that's when this stuff becomes imperative.
Right.
Okay. So you take a guy or a girl, teenager, right out of high school, whatever, 20 years old, they're learning a skill, okay? And you could say they're learning a job. You could say they're learning whatever. They're learning from 20 to 25. They're really learning a skill or a trade or whatever they're doing, and they're sharpening their skills and being good at that. Mm-hmm. They don't really have to be good at all these other things, right? They just have to be really good. So I've got guys that work for me right now. I want him to be good at being a technician. He's a young man. I don't need him to be good at much else. I need him to be good at being a technician. Well, at some point down the road, maybe it's 5 years, so maybe it's 10, maybe it's 15, he becomes a really good technician. In order for him to continue to grow, he has to be really good with his character. Okay? Now, along the way, he's learning how to have good character. But character is what keeps you at the top, right? And so you have all these other things, but many leaders rise quickly only to fall because they're not grounded. Character is what sustains influence over time. And so when people see a person in line with their values and doing things that build character, they'll get behind them.
Right.
And so as a leader begins to become really good at what he does and he wants to begin to lead, it's very important that he consistently works on his character. Because remember, in our flesh, we are so far lost. Sin, right? And so character is built over time. You think you can build character quickly?
I don't know the answer to that question, but in my head just now while we were talking, I was thinking how you were saying like trust and character go hand character builds trust. And it just keeps going back to character is something that you can see on the outside. So like, or not on the outside, but you're directly affected by someone's character as an employee. So like if your leader has terrible character, it's just, you can see that automatically. Where, like servanthood or something, that mandate, you may not ever know that your leader is a servant leader or may not recognize it as well as like knowing that they're...
Oh yeah, character's surface. Like you can grab it.
Right.
You see it quick.
So I guess in my head, I think that character doesn't build time or doesn't take long to build. Mm-hmm. But if you have good character for long enough, that's where the integrity comes in.
Yep. That's good. Yeah. So if you practice your good character and you live in that and you dwell in that, integrity is certainly comes along. But integrity, again, integrity is the foundation. And so you ain't building any life or any life of character if you don't have integrity most of the time. So
What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, we always
You're just asking me all the hard
yes,
questions.
we always do these things, and then about halfway through we say, "Oh yeah, you can do this."
Yeah.
So what about, does character change for people? Like, in other words, maybe you have good character today, but tomorrow you don't.
I think it can. I think it can change. I also think it depends on the setting.
Okay, so maybe the season that you're in,
Or
or
just
the setting.
If you're at the office, or if you're
Out on Friday night.
right. I mean, well,
You're not supposed to change your character,
right.
man.
I know you're not supposed to, but I guess in my head I
think it can change.
okay.
Yeah. So
I feel like that was a trick question.
No. I think it can change.
Okay.
So here's the thing: you can have someone with really good character that stand up guy or girl, yet put them in a crisis.
Yeah.
I think it changes, and I think that we're all subject to that at different levels. I mean, I think some people are stronger than others, but I do believe that your character can slip. And I believe that is what separates great leaders from good ones. I believe that, it's one of those things where it's kind of like this. Have you ever known somebody that is a stand-up person, was a stand-up person? Okay, let me back up. You hear about these people that go and murder people, go kill people. They weren't murderers, all right? They were normal old people, good people, good raising, good people. I mean, think about the Charlie Kirk's deal.
Right.
That Tyler Robinson boy, I don't even want to say his name. Of course, there's all these conspiracy theorists out there now.
Yeah.
Let's say that Tyler did it. Well, 5 years ago, nobody would have thought he'd have done that,
Right.
So something happened. And I believe today that people change. People become different people. And I believe that if you're not intentional about character building, you can lose it. So now,
I mean, there's a whole show on Snapped.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Well, there's my wife watches all these ID channel stuff all the time.
Yes.
It's like, why are you watching this? It's women just like it, I guess, but I can't stand it. But anyway, the point is I believe that people can change based on, what about that girl that was on that channel? They did a Netflix thing, and she was like messaging her daughter.
oh yeah.
Did you see that?
Yes. That. Did you watch it?
Yeah, my
Okay.
wife made me watch it, like on Saturday morning.
It was wild.
Yeah, so now everybody on our show is going to go watch it. They're probably like, oh yeah, we've seen that too.
We're late to it, actually.
Are we?
Yeah. It was popular like 2 months ago.
Oh yeah, well.
So me and you are the ones that don't watch.
Yeah, I don't watch
until-
Netflix. But my wife was watching, and I was like, I got to see this.
I love it.
And so I watched it, and I was like, what a sick freak of a person to text your daughter text messages like that. Go kill yourself. Oh, what are you doing?
But then
that's what she told her daughter.
Then 20 minutes later, she's with her daughter.
Yeah.
Loving her. And
It's like that's something has went off in that lady's head.
yeah.
Okay. And so anyway, but what got me with the whole story, the reason I was even telling it, which, by the way, we're not advocating for anybody to watch this show, but what I was trying to say is her husband, how does she hide all that from her husband?
Yeah, I don't know.
Talk about being two different people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm thinking, I'm watching that show, and I'm like, what? How do you do that? Become two different people. Your husband doesn't even know what's going on. And I remember watching the show, and they're like, he's standing there with the law enforcement, and he's like, you got to get her out of here because something bad's going to happen if you leave her here.
Well,
now that I know this.
So then think about it, though, with him, his character was changed. It changed
100%.
from the moment that they called him, he was at work or whatever it was. And then in an instant, he's ready to kill her.
Yeah. So, and my point is when the question's asked, can a person build or take away or take down their character? Absolutely they can. 100%.
Yeah.
If you're not intentional about building character, you won't build it. It'll be taken down. And that, maybe I'm wrong, but that's just the way I feel. And I have the right to that, right? So, All right. So character also shapes the culture that you live in. For example, you have a culture of a church, a culture of a business, a culture of a team, and the values that that team or group of people, that organization represent can be modified if character is not focused on. Can you think, Maddie, of an organization that has suffered because of character? I was trying to think of this earlier and I couldn't think of one. An organization that has suffered because of character. And I'll tell you what comes to my mind, and it may tickle something for you. So you take a college football team, and they have what I would call a defamation of character, a moment where 2 or 3 of them go out and they do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The school, man, they take the punt for that,
Right?
Because people are like, "What? They're allowing their kids to do this and that. I'm not. My kids ain't going there."
Right.
That would be one example of where character affects the institution that it represents.
What about in a positive way? Good character for an organization.
I'm trying to think of an example.
I know.
That's what you're asking me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to think of, okay, so this is one. The Bud Light coming out.
What did Bud Light do?
With the rainbow cans or whatever, and everyone was like,
they boycotted.
They boycotted.
Straight up.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
And so, this is not a positive one, obviously, but
you're confusing me because you said positive.
I know,
this
sorry.
Is not positive.
You're like, no, right. Sorry, this is the negative, bad character.
Yeah.
But they came out with something that everyone kind of stood against.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We're like, leave it out of my beer.
Yeah. So you don't want to mix. They don't want to mix all that stuff up in their beer drinking stuff, which is, it's a worthy thing, right? So it's kind of like Ty Simpson. I think they asked the Alabama Crimson Tide football team to wear some LBGQT. What isn't it?
Plus.
Yeah, whatever. Bracelets on their arms. And Ty Simpson's like, bro, leave it out of the football. I've played for Alabama Crimson Tide. Leave it out.
Right.
And then everybody's shaming the dude because he wouldn't represent. It's like, no. He's like, I'm not.
Represent my school.
Yeah, exactly. Like, quit bringing all that stuff into it. Let us play football.
Yeah.
I think that's strong character too. Being able to
say no,
defy the mass.
Yeah.
Right. And so, anyway, nonetheless, character shapes the culture that you live in. 100%.
Right.
A leader who values transparency creates a culture of openness. A leader who models respect fosters collaboration and safety. A leader who demonstrates resilience cultivates people in the organization with resilience. And so all of that, though, is part of character. Every bit of that. And so the culture flows down, the character builds the culture, and then the culture flows down to everyone else. All right, so we talked about a while ago, a character in crisis. Character in crisis reveals true leadership. They say that, the captain of the boat is not really necessarily a great captain when the seas are smooth, right? Anybody can operate the boat when the seas are smooth.
Right.
The captain of the boat uses his skill when the waves are rough. And so I guess that would assimilate with everything in life. When things are going really good, it doesn't take much to be a leader.
Right.
When things get bad, that's when a leader really shines and shows his true colors. So because of crisis, when anyone can lead when things are easy, but when true leadership is revealed in adversity and when things get tough. And talking about adversity here, I've been very happy, excited to see the way that Kalen DeBoer and the Alabama Crimson Tide have responded to that first week of defeat, they were in a crisis. They were talking about people, they were going to fire that guy, whatever, and he's come back pretty stiff. He's doing a great job. And I love talking about Alabama, just so y'all know. I know I got a bunch of haters on here. They don't want we're going to lessen our ratings because of my Alabama love.
Probably.
But no, let me tell you why I like Alabama. So Nick Saban is a great leader, phenomenal leader. That's who I just followed. So,
No, I mean, I think everyone can say that Nick Saban's a great leader.
Yeah, it's all good.
And Kirby.
Yeah, Kirby's good too. Like, look, I have nothing.
I just got to throw it in there, Jeremy.
Go Dogs, throw it in. I'm good with that. So I'm not a hater of any, but I do watch Alabama and Georgia play football. So
I think a character in crisis, thinking about leaders in my life and myself, it's like when and how in a crisis, like how do I act? You know, like just kind of self-reflect. But then I also think about who do I go to when there is a crisis, you know?
That's
like,
good.
Because it's not always me, you know, it's not whether it be at work or whatever, but, and then how do they react to that? Because when poop's hitting the fan, there's not very many people who can keep their mind straight and focused on
respond and not react. Yeah. Wow, that's good. Well, I mean, crisis demands, when we're in crisis, it demands different things, right? So when the seas are rough, you have courage that floats to the top. And, you got perseverance. You have stability, patience, which I don't have, by the way, discipline. You got all these things that become necessary because you're in a crisis. And character, that's when the true character comes out. And, look, if you're thinking right now, like, oh gosh, I'm being judged because when the poop hits the fan, I scream and yell and cuss at everybody. Well, that doesn't change your character. It's certainly not good to scream and cuss and yell at everybody, but when the poop hits the fan, you go into survival mode, and but nonetheless, your character only changes if you modify that in a negative way. And so, you want more self-control, right? But that doesn't, if you don't have self-control, I don't think that means you have bad character. I think that you always have to work on something and be intentional about what you're working on. And if you're working on it intentionally all the time, you're going to not work on something, right? So if you're working on your character and you're working on your anger and you're working on your patience, you're working on all these things. It's like, hey, this is overwhelming. I can't work on all this stuff.
Right.
And you're exactly right. You can't. That's why you go to Jesus.
Yep.
So
Amen.
Anyway, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think too, when poop hits the fan,
yeah,
it also shows passion sometimes.
Oh,
I mean, like the anger may come out or the cussing and whatever, but I almost feel like that shows that you're passionate about whatever
that you care.
You're doing, that you care.
100%.
And so maybe your character isn't hurt just because you kind of flew off the handle.
Yeah. No, I was just throwing that out there. I don't judge yourself and don't judge others. But your character is not hurt because you reacted in a way that you didn't want to. And I think that's part of your sanctification, if I may, part of what you got to get better at. And so just be intentional about getting better. A leader of strong character becomes, during times of uncertainty, a strong leader of character will offer clarity and confidence, So character also inspires and multiplies leaders. So people follow example more than they do instruction. Have you ever told your kids, do this right here, and they go do it, or they don't? Most of the time they don't. But if you ever do it for them, I mean, I don't know about y'all. Maybe y'all got angels of kids, but my kids, man, I can tell my daughter, one of them anyways, hey, do not do that. She's going to do it. And I can be like, hey, don't do that. and she will do it.
Right.
Right. Or she won't do it. Oh, wait a minute. Let me get that. I'm confused. Hang on. So I have to use reverse psychology. And I really do this, by the way. If I don't want her to do something, I tell her to do it.
Mm-hmm. No, I
and then she won't do it.
I'll do this. It's like a game. Oh, don't you dare do that.
Yeah,
kind
exactly.
of thing.
And it works. And so, Macy, if you're listening, I just made you famous.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was Macy.
What's up, Macy?
Yeah, she, great kid. But, man, I'd be like, quit throwing the ball in the house. She's going to throw it in the house. And I'm like, holy cow.
Or what Murphy will do is he'll go to kicking it. What? I'm not throwing it.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
It's like, what? Come on.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's funny.
But, okay, but anyway, they follow examples more than instruction. Now, so a leader with strong character doesn't just lead, they inspire others to lead. We know that. And a leader of strong character is more of when you become focused and intentional on your character, you will find that you also want to begin to share that. And so mentoring becomes a thing. And basically you begin to want to multiply that. And then when you multiply that around you, then it's much easier. You're kind of like building guardrails for yourself. And I tell you, one of the things that I'll do intentionally when I want to do something or not do something is I build guardrails. So I need to make sure that I do something. In and of myself, I don't have the discipline to do it. Ain't that weird? So I know my deficiencies. I know where I'm weak.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll come up with something where I know I'm not going to do this like I should. And then I will tell somebody else to hold me accountable to that. At work, right now. I just did it last week.
With me.
Yeah. I did do it with you, actually.
Yeah.
But that ain't the one I was thinking about. I was thinking about another one. But I did do it with you.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. What did I do?
You said, all right, so Maddie, I need you to do this every single day that you're hanging out with me.
Yeah.
You're going to tell me to write a thank you note or some sort of note.
Yeah. Perfect.
Just to a customer
Guardrail.
or something. Yeah.
I just put a guardrail up with you.
So I put it on my calendar.
Yeah.
To text or do whatever and be like, Jeremy, don't forget.
Yeah. That's
Did you do it? Who'd you do it to? Who'd you send it?
Look, I thank you so much for that too. So I also did that with another person last week. And I'm not going to name any names, but I literally said, I need to do this every week. Good Lord, I cannot seem to get myself together. Anyway, the point is, your character can be similar in that you need to make sure, if you're listening to this right now, you need to make sure that you have guardrails in place to maintain your character at the highest level. Okay? At the highest level possible. Your character, especially if you're a leader, your character must be maintained at the highest level. And you need to put guardrails in place to do so. And so, here's the other thing. Young people, young leaders, aspire to be like other leaders. And you never want to lead someone in a direction that they don't need to be in. And so your character is so critical. As you grow in your influence, your character becomes more and more and more and more and more critical. And I tell people all the time, better walk closer with the Lord, get closer to Jesus, because it is so difficult to do on your own. And so you got to have good people like Maddie and good people that help you with everything that you do as a leader. So, at the end of the day, leadership, it's really not about how far you go. It's how you get there. We know this. It's what you do on the journey.
Mm-hmm.
And so how well you serve people determines your level of influence, and your character is right up there. A leader's greatest legacy is not the projects they complete, but those that they bring with them. And so build your character daily, intentionally. Character is foundational in leadership as a whole. And so what about a call to action? I mean, at the end of the day, let's just do a call to action. What can we do, Maddie, now that we've talked about character, besides asking other people to make sure we do things, but what can we do to hold our character to a high regard?
Put up guardrails.
Put up guardrails.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
no, 100%. I would say, are your values visible in your decisions? So when you're putting up guardrails, you need to think about what your values are, what your character should look like, and essentially the things that you value or the organization as a whole. What does it look like bad and what does it look like good? And then what do you do to maintain the good? And I guess when you talk about character, you want to make sure that your actions align with what you say. And so how do you do that? And I think there's 150 things that you can come up with in your world. How do I make sure that my character is not dissolved? How do I make sure that my character is priority? And all those in the organization with me, you know? And so go ahead.
Well, I think it's also kind of taking a step back. Earlier, we kind of reviewed, like when we were talking about with Brett, he mentioned something in his interview where he was like, I don't just go in, I don't think he said guns blazing, but he said, okay, I can see how you would want to do it like this, but let's just try it this way and maybe it could work out. It's like maybe instead of just your first instinct or first thought being the first thing that you do or say, I'm like this next week with my character, put your values first, like really set what my personal values are, my personal goals, whatever. And then with any decision, with any reaction, think about those before I, shoot off an email or react really quick or anything like that. Because then I think that in turn will make your character better. And I think Jeff even said something like that a few weeks ago when you said that he asks questions.
He does. Yeah.
Instead of just going into the room and saying, no, this is how we're going to do it. I've done it this way for 10 years or whatever it is. He asks questions. Yeah.
It was funny the way that when I found that out about him, he had pulled me to the side and we had seen something about the same time, but he had pulled me to the side and he started asking me questions. And I was walking through the questions and I was answering them. And at the same time, I had this revelation. Like, I know where he's going with this. He's wanting this to happen. He wants to see this.
Right.
But he never said it. And I just knew, like, he led me to the answer. That
Right.
I already knew what he wanted. But the way that he went about doing it, illuminating it, was so... it was almost peculiar. It was almost like that's a gift because not everyone will do it that way.
Mm-mm.
And including me. Like I'll be like, hey bro, we've
already done that.
Yeah. what are we doing? We need to fix it. But the way that he did it, I was like, man, that was special because
he's teaching
100%. Yeah. And he's a great guy. But anyway, we're getting back on Jeff.
Sorry.
No, it's good. At the end of the day, our character is critical to not only our development, our following and what we do and how we do it, but the character part is a big one. Again, it's the structure that you live in, and your character must be good in order to lead anything great.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of relative, so good and bad, all that's relative. You want to make sure that you're focusing on good character. But there's so many things that go with that.
Right.
And so, like I said earlier, I believe that if you're working on patience a lot, and you're working on anger, and you're working on all these different things, discipline, you're working on 100 different things, there's going to be something that you're not working on that if it hasn't become a habit, you could fall.
Right.
It'll come down. And so as a leader, You've got to consistently be evaluating your surroundings, your character, and making sure that you're taking stabs at all of it.
Right.
So continue to elevate your character. For all the leaders out there, elevating your character is absolutely paramount to your influence. And your influence is going to dictate your impact. And so if you want to make an impact, focus on your character. So that's it. That's all I got.
That's good.
You got
Great
anything?
stuff.
How many minutes is that?
We're at 43.
43. Wow. We kept it under 45 this time.
Yeah, it's good. I think people like the short ones too.
Yeah. So you have anything you want to add before we sign off?
I don't think so. I think the biggest thing that I've kind of taken away is make sure your actions align with what you say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Actions align with what you say. You got to do what you say and say what you do.
Right.
Or do what you say and say what you do and do what you say. There you go.
And mean it.
Yeah. It's got to be real.
Intentional.
Intentional.
How many times did we say that?
2025.
I know. That's our word.
That was the word. Maddie's
we said
word
it
of
a
the
lot.
year.
We said that word a lot.
In January, she said that.
I know.
Yeah.
I think that has to be my word every year.
Every year. Yeah, because if you're ever not intentional, you're slipping.
Well, hopefully by the end of 2025, it'll be a habit for me.
I don't know. Then it all starts back over. I tell everybody, why do you have to be a lifelong runner to be a leader? Because this stuff it's not natural.
Right.
It doesn't stick. You got to keep digging.
You said something earlier that made me think, like, there's no cap on leadership.
No.
Like, with every day changing, I mean, just culture changing, everything changing so much that, like, you're always learning.
100%.
Because something's changing.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah, that's good. Maddie, you should we're gonna get that on the short.
I should be
Maddie's short.
I should be on like a podcast.
You should definitely do a podcast. That's good stuff. All right. Well, look, we're gonna get off here. We haven't done anything fun lately, but Maddie and I talked. We're gonna start having a good time here. I don't know what that means, but we got to start getting you guys involved somehow as our listeners. You know, what can you do to make an impact? And hey, listen, I will say this. If you're listening right now and you just say, I want to get on this show one day, we're always looking for good people to sign up that want to talk. If you want to stretch yourself a little bit, Maddie can put a note in or whatever, but we'd love to have you click on it and maybe just send in a note that says, hey, I'd love to be on the show.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you if you want to talk about leadership. So,
For sure.
Whatever, if you have a message you want to share.
Yeah.
So,
great.
cool. All right. Signing off.
Signing off.
Thank y'all.
Thanks.
Lead well.